to the slides that we need for the competencies. So I just want to start off by saying that, this work with the competencies began, I can't see everyone who are sort of in this space at the moment, but this work began a few years ago when I was at the department. I was working at PDE, and we were talking about the Aspire to Educate program. So this was myself and Saxon Nelson, if he's in the room. And Saxon had connected me with Saroja. Saroja might be in the room too. And Saroja had sort of highlighted some of the work that New America, Jenny Munez had completed on the 50-state survey of culturally responsive competencies across the country. And so we kind of took that up, and the goal of the Aspire to Educate program to begin with, and I might just kind of brush through this just in the essence of time, we took that up and we talked about this program being sort of the importance of this Aspire to Educate program was to diversify the pipeline. We wanted more Black and Latinx educators in the profession, but what we also knew is that they had to be culturally responsive. We knew that these educators, Black, Latinx, or white, they all needed to be culturally responsive. And so we took those competencies, the work that Jenny Munez had done, the research, and we sort of took it on. And I had the most amazing team here in Pennsylvania spend more than a year and a half with me working on developing our competencies for Pennsylvania, because we have none. And so the authors of this work, of course, myself, Karen Parker Thompson, Rochelle Peterson Ansari, Ron Whitaker, kind of leading the competencies themselves. But I just want to talk about the team. So it's not just about who kind of wrote and put it together. It's about the team of us who kind of came together. Folks gave feedback, folks drafted rubrics, folks and there's an entire toolkit that's kind of developed around these competencies as well. And I want to acknowledge all of these individuals: Mark from Arcadia, Megara at Temple, Priscilla at Arcadia, and you can see their names, and I'll share this with you as well. Larry at Drexel, Beverly at the Comprehensive Center, Trent at LaSalle, David Monk, Laura Roy, of course, at LaSalle, Tamara at Temple, and Tandra at Region 4 Comprehensive Center. So there are a team of us kind of working to make these competencies about Pennsylvania and to make them intentional. There was a lot of time, more than a year and a half spent developing these. I'm just gonna go through quickly. So like I said, how did we get here? We got here through the data. The data told us that there's a lot of inequities. At the time we did this work, there were maybe about 4% teachers of color in Pennsylvania. Of course, over 33% students of color, completely disproportionate in the state. We got data from the Chapter 49 convenings, Educator Diversity Roundtable. We were getting data from all over the place that told us that there were inequities. We didn't even need the data. We could see with our own eyes, right? When we look in our classrooms, that the representation was not there. So the draft of the competencies, we really finished it this year. And so we have it available to share with everyone as well today. This is what Pennsylvania looks like. I throw this map out there to say everything that you see in red are districts with no teachers of color. Where you see the green over in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and some kind of splotchy areas between are where you kind of find the handful of teachers of color that are in the state. And there's a lot of work to do to fix this map. We've made a lot of progress. One of them is getting this definition into Chapter 49. This is a part of the proposed amendments for Chapter 49. And so Ron Whitaker, Rochelle Peterson Ansari, myself, we kind of worked together to develop a definition of culturally relevant and sustaining education, which was really inclusive of lots of different factors like trauma, right? In order to do that work, you need to be culturally relevant and sustaining in your practice as well. And so this is where we are. This has moved forward, but what we want now is for the competencies themselves to get into Chapter 354, Chapter 49, and so that we could continue this work. We know that there's a lot of barriers in our way, but we're still kind of pushing forward to make this happen. The framework that informs this work and the competencies, of course, culturally relevant pedagogy, Gloria Lanson Billings, culturally sustaining pedagogy, Django Paris's work, and critical race theory, which they're fighting against right now, they will not win, is what informs this work. And so those are the three theoretical frameworks that informs what you're looking at and the work behind the competencies. The competencies themselves, there are 9 of them. I'm going to highlight them really quickly, reflecting on your own cultural lens, identifying and deepening understanding of and taking steps to address bias in the system, designing and facilitating culturally relevant learning that brings real-world experiences into educational spaces, providing all learners with equitable and differentiated opportunities to learn and succeed, and to promote asset-based perspectives about difference. The sixth one is to collaborate with families and communities through authentic engagement practices and communicating in linguistically and culturally responsive ways that demonstrate respect for learners, educators, educational leaders, and families. The eighth one is establishing high expectations for all learners and treating them as capable and deserving of achieving success. And our last one, which we thought was so important, which is to educate oneself about microaggressions, their impact on diverse learners, educators, and families, and actively disrupt the practice by naming and challenging its use. So those are our competencies. There are 9 of them, and you are going to be sent into these different breakout rooms. It's your choice. We have 8 different rooms where we're going to be presenting and talking more about the work that we're all doing with the competencies. We've taken up the competencies and we have put them into practice, and that's what we're asking you to do with them as well. And you're going to look at these are the different ways in which we are engaging with them. And you know, the challenge here, or the call to action for all of you, is to pilot them. Take them into your institution, use them, pilot them, work with them, develop professional development around them, ask more questions about them. Join us here at PEDC to learn more about what they look like. And so I'm going to stop sharing. I did that really quickly. And so if you do have more questions about the competencies, reach out, send an email. And you can you'll get the draft. The toolkit is coming very, very soon. So you will have access to resources. Again, shout out to the team of people who have spent more than a year identifying resources, working on different parts of this toolkit and making this happen to share with all of Pennsylvania. And we hope that you actually use it. Don't just look at it, use it, engage with it. Even if you're taking it up one at a time, that's the invitation for you. So I am going to just send you off right now. I'm going to turn it back over to, is it Saria?